Hi, and welcome to the VLF Spotlight. As you know, the spotlights are focused on one particular person or subject matter. The person that this spotlight is focused on is a friend of mine that I've known for a few years. And He's a new friend. I could say he's been a friend for about 2 to 3 years, but um, you really don't know what a person has done, been through, until you really had a conversation with them. Well, that happened on yesterday when I talked to Mr. Eric Collier. Um, we met under the auspices of something completely different, but we had a conversation. I've always known how his faith went, and he mine, and that's probably why we got to be good friends. But I had a talk with him, and I found out some of the things that he has done in his past business life that are very interesting. He still carries those things to this very day, but I found it so interesting that I wanted to do a spotlight on him. So let me introduce to you Mr. Eric Collier, and he will be talking about philanthropy. Um, you might ask why this makes a difference in your life and how you're doing things now, or how it makes a difference in the church. I think by the end of the interview, it will make itself present uh, on what philanthropy means um, to you, just a normal person. So, again, let me introduce to you Mr. Eric Collier. This There we go. So, this morning we are here with a friend of mine, a quick friend of mine. Um, we met some years ago through my son, my youngest son, and I think I recognized then, and he probably recognized then, that there was a kindred spirit in there. And we only see each other a couple times a year, but the conversation is usually, though brief, it is a good conversation. However, yesterday, when we met, um, we talked about some things about um, Eric Collier is his name. I should have said that. Eric, that I did not know, and I found it so interesting that I thought I would bring it to one of the VL Nation spotlight. So, good morning, Eric. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good morning, and good
Good,
morning.
good,
Thank
good.
you for inviting me this morning.
No problem. So, my church is Victorious Living Faith. We cut it down to VLF, and we have started some what I call spotlights that center on a certain personal thing. So after we talked yesterday, I found it very interesting, and I had a question, which is going to be your first question.
Okay.
After talking to you, and you sent me your bio later, but your business cards say that you are an, where did I drop it? Of Here we go, and I hope I don't screw it up. Philanthropic
Philanthropic
advisor.
advisor.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Did I lose your video?
Oh no, no, I'm still here. You can't
Okay.
see me?
I can't see you. Nope.
Okay.
Your
All
name is
right.
not. There we go. There we go.
Okay.
All right. So my first question is, what is a philanthropic advisor?
So, and I prepared some notes just in case if you ask me. So I'm just going to step away for 1 second because
No problem.
um, I'm getting a little bit older and memory is not
But you,
exactly what I want it to be. But let me just see if I can articulate it in a better.
no problem. We
Uh,
lost the video again
so
too.
okay, okay. So
But if we lose the video, it's you're still talking. So okay.
Okay, yeah, a philanthropic advisor, or some people call it an advocate, pretty much plays a crucial role in like championing charitable causes, mobilizing resources, and raising awareness to drive positive change in society. So generally speaking, I represented Mercy Ships for well over a decade and worked in various roles from fundraising to resource officer to working with civic organizations to working with different ministries and churches and so forth as their um, uh, chosen speaker. Um, so that's how I came about that title, or what gave birth to that title when I left my career at Mercy Ships, and um, right after the pandemic. I wanted to stay engaged, and I knew that I had a special gift in working in the community, as well as locally, as well as abroad. Um, so, generally speaking, and a philanthropic advisor or advocate, they serve as like I'm gonna call it a passionate ambassadors for fostering support for philanthropy and connecting to different initiatives across the globe.
Okay. So before I get to my second question, I know what mercy ships are, but could you explain to those who don't know what mercy ships are?
Sure. Mercy Ships is a faith-based organization headquartered out of Texas doing work right now currently in Africa. They follow the 2,000-year model of Jesus, where the blind shall see, the mute shall speak, and the lame shall walk. So what they do is they go to the most underserved nations around the world. Primarily, we have identified off the coast of Africa, West Africa being safe. And because we are a ship, we obviously need to be able to dock at a port. And what they do is they go in for 10 months at a time and provide services. Services as such as cleft lip and palate. You probably see that a lot on television.
Yeah, I do.
The cleft lip and okay. We do a lot of orthopedic surgery. So one of my most fascinating stories that I tend to that wake me up in the morning to just say thank you, Jesus. Is I watched a young boy by the name of Abel at 12 years of age. His kneecaps was inadvertently, so almost backwards. He had bow legs and club feet and could barely walk. And when he walked, he was ridiculed and judged and then just picked on and so forth and bullied, as we know that term today. But this little boy went through a transformational surgery that changed his life, and he's able to walk like a normal little kid. And today that was when he was 12. Today he would be around 25 years of age. And that story can be found on YouTube as Mercy Ships / Abel story.
Okay.
And that was out of West Africa, maybe in Togo.
Okay, so when I do the editing of this, I'm going to find that video and include that link. And I'm going to go to the second question. Your video's still down just in case. So you sent me your bio yesterday, and it speaks of strategic development, fundraising, and building relationships. Victorious Living Faith, or VLF, is a small non-denominational church. So the things that you bring to the table, strategic development, fundraising, and building relationships, how would that benefit a church like Victorious Living Faith?
So what I can do is help where I come on the scene. I work alongside of what you guys' initiatives seem to be, whether it be raising money for a school bus, raising money for a new building fund, or so forth. And I help you best align it to reach the community at large and gain funds, as well as looking at some of your messaging and maybe providing some insightful communication so that it can be very palatable to a larger audience outside of the church walls.
Okay. So I know you have a passion for helping others to have taken you around the world. So for a church that's focusing on the immediate community, do you have any suggestions on what we would do moving forward? I think we're making some good strides. We are partnering with some of the other advocacy organizations in the Essex area. We started recently what we call Feeding Our Friends, where every third Saturday, we will be feeding the homeless, low income, or just the community itself. So again, what do you have any suggestions how that we need to consider or look at moving forward in serving the community?
So absolutely. So first of all, let me commend you for the work that you are doing, because we got to be doing something in order to get somewhere. You know what I mean? If we just try to
Right.
stop.
Right.
So first, let me just commend you on that, on your efforts there. So one of the things in doing so, we probably just need to brand that so and create an opportunity for others with a kindred spirit or with a similar heart to volunteer, because somewhere in that volunteer pool there may be an expert that you guys can where you can leverage he or she's expertise, and whether it be generating some funding, whether it be a gift in kind, meaning somebody may know somebody at Macy's that may donate gloves for the season, and you're able to leverage that contact um, to be able to share with the community.
Okay.
Um, and also, another initiative is perhaps speaking at maybe a civic organization, i.e., Rotary Club or Silvertan Club or Kiwanis Club. Um, I'm pretty sure as a member in the church that's probably a member of one of those civic organizations.
Okay.
And it's good just to highlight some of the things that you guys are doing. So capturing lots of pictures, just for leverage, just so that you can share the story, share your compelling story.
Okay. 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 So, we've talked about building relationships on a organizational level. Um, with what you do and what you offer, um, is there any benefits to the singular person?
So to the singular person, so one of the things that I like to do, and I have to share this in an expression from a story. I was one of the keynote speakers at the Pentagon for the U.S. Navy, and I was as I was being marched in by the color guard, and and actually, let me just throw this in there just to kind of boost my confidence in saying this, was received a proclamation from, this is during the time of received a proclamation from President Obama at the time. And I moved the crowd because not only it wasn't a selfish act of me representing just Mercy Ships, but I was just talking about philanthropy as a whole, about matching one's passion having them donate to their passion, whether that be, and I'm going to give you some examples, whether that be the autistic program, Alzheimer's program, your church, the Boy Scouts of America, just across all spectrums. So my message was very small in regards to Mercy Ships, but it was more about generating an interest, getting that philanthropic pump pressed as philanthropic pump press, so that they can be more generous, whether that be with their time, their expertise, or with their finances.
Okay. Okay. So, and we're going to wind down in a minute. Again, I thank you for coming on board. But when we talked about, I guess it was more fundraising. You came up with an equation that
Yes.
seemed very interesting. Would you like to share that here? Is that okay?
Sure, absolutely. No, absolutely. I can share that. So, this was, you know, um, fundraising is kind of like technology. It changes every day. But this model was used about 16 years ago during my time with Mercy Ships, and it was what I like about the model, and I still believe it to be true today and be very effective. Just to share this, it was called my elevator spiel, and it's very important to establish an elevator spiel. So this is one of the areas that I can help help you guys with your ministry in creating this elevator spiel that's palatable. So my elevator spiel went as such. It was $1.2 million to fund the hospital ship per month, $12,000 a day, $500 an hour, or $8 a minute. And my closing statement was, choose your moment. Fit in where you can get in. Everything that made it much more palatable for the general audience. If they was afraid of that number for $1.2 million, it's not a problem. We got the $12,000 tier. If you're afraid of that $12,000 tier, we got the $500 tier. But what I found most success in because what I was looking for is to increase my portfolio of followers. Today we know them as followers. Then there was no, we didn't call them followers. It was the $8 a minute. So the more folks that you have, those are going to be your foot soldiers, your advocates that join that moment at $8 a minute. On the average or on the low end, it was they chose five to purchase 5 minutes, which became $40. $40 supported the cause, and I was able to articulate what that might do for the organization. And one of the important things to note when you have after you have an elevator spiel is true follow up. If once you share that and you gauge their interest, which is going to be wonderful. You're going to get some interest out of that because you're going to make it very palatable. It's not one of those type of things they're going to have to go back and think. Now they may want to go and pray about that $1.2 million, but somebody readily would say, "Hey, let me go ahead and get 5 of those minutes. That's $40, and let me support you." So we can create something like that could propel the mission forward.
Okay, good. Okay, so as we close out, we also talked about mentorship. VLF men have recently entered into an arrangement with Deep Creek Middle School, and you were talking yourself about mentoring young men. We also have a connection with We Are Us, which is in the city, that goes out into the community. And since that is a pleasure of yours, and this is more personal than the philanthropy, but I like to add a personal note to it. Tell us about your connection and mentoring young men.
So, and great question, and I'm always excited to talk about this. So years ago, maybe 10 years ago, I used to mentor a group of kids around the North Avenue in that corridor, right below, just south of Coppin State. Coppin used to allow us to bring in about 17 to 18 young men that were in elementary school and middle school for breakfast. We would pick them up it was either Wednesday or Thursday, and have breakfast with them and just kind of pretty much talk about life. We want to meet them where they're at because what we found, although our initiative was just a faith-based, it was faith-based oriented. However, we wanted to get inside of their circle and not necessarily befriend them, but guide them, give them the opportunity to see something on the other side of the fence. And this was during the time and around the Freddie Gray. And I remember one of my mentees said, "Man, you know what was so sad? I watched them terrorize that CVS, and that's where my grandmother used to get her medicine. That hurt me, and I played a part in that. But then I thought about it. Why are we tearing up our own neighborhood?" So it was a calculating moment for me to actually be present to see someone that's younger than me that looked like me, and be able to encourage them that they don't have to stay in that place. There is other things that they can do, and try to encourage them. I had some success to follow, and then I had some resistance from the parents because I'm waking a child up, picking them up at 7 o'clock before they go to school, and I would drop them off at school. But the biggest thing, a success story. One of my kids got in trouble from one of those, and got in trouble. Actually, I'll just tell the story. He was stealing from Walmart, and the mother called me. She said, "Listen, whatever you can do, because I saw the difference that you were making in my child's life just by spending time with him and providing him love." And what I call it is love in action. Even if though we may not tell everybody that we love them, but we can definitely demonstrate them because God is love.
Exactly. So we talked about some things that we were going to do at VLF with Deep Creek, and I may be tapping on you in the future because you were we have access to a facility that you, wherever it's at in the process, but we have you wanted to do some things like some oil changing. I told you I wanted to do some things like changing brakes. So we may be working together closely in the future as we
Absolutely.
develop this program in Deep Creek. This Saturday, we will be meeting with them, and it won't probably kick off because of the holidays to the first of the year. But I definitely, well, like I say, we see each other a couple times a year as it is for something completely different. But I'm hoping that we will get together more in
Absolutely.
mentorship um, of um, of what we're doing with Deep Creek. We might be coming your way, but there's some things that for you, you might be sending us that way as well. So, all right. So I appreciate the time you took out this morning. My son says hello. I
Okay.
just
Yeah. Please.
talked to him just
Well.
before we got on the call
Yeah.
because he's the one that introduced us, actually. Um, he says hello. So, again, I appreciate you coming on, Eric. I wish you well in your future endeavors. That some things that I know about that we won't talk about here, but we wish you well in your future endeavors and other things that we spoke about on yesterday.
Okay. No, thank you. And thank you again for having me. And just know that I'm just a phone call away. So
I
right
know.
now, so my philanthropic pump is already pressed, and I'm here to assist. So just
Okay,
keep that in mind.
I
Call me
definitely
in.
will. So
Okay.
we're going to end
Thank
this
you.
recording for now, and we will talk to you soon.
Thank you.
All righty. So that's the interview with Eric Collier. Um, I'm hoping that you'll see uh, that it was informational and beneficial, depending on who you are and what you're doing, because we did look at it as from an organizational level and how it would pertain to VLF, but there are some things that has might pertain to you as you go forward. Um, because of the audience, you may be thinking of starting a business soon, or assisting in a business, or you're on the board of a business. Um, this is just the beginning. To be honest with you, I had a conversation with her after the interview, or we continued our conversation after the interview, and we touched on a lot of things. So basically, this interview with him turned into a part one. He is so full of knowledge and information that provides resources that it's not going to just end with this one conversation in this one interview. So you will be seeing Mr. Eric Collier again in the very near future. We've made plans to meet and record again sometime before Christmas. So you will see another interview, and I urge you, um, if you thought that there were details or items in this interview that got the wheels turning in your head, um, stay tuned for the next meeting with Eric. And we talked about having it in a getting it out of the Zoom format and maybe doing it in person. And he had a suggestion that I found very interesting. So again, thank you for joining us for this spotlight. We have more coming, and we hope that we found something that put interest there. But again, we will be giving you more content for these spotlights as we go along. Thank you and be blessed.